Hello, thank you for stopping by, and today I'll be making an Ultrakill weapons tier list, wherein I'll use my extensive experience in Ultrakill to give opinions on how powerful these weapons are in comparison to each other. Like, the default marksman is S tier, but if the default marksman didn't exist, the alt marksman would be like A tier, kind of thing. But you have to pick between the two, so the default piercer, it's not default piercer, default marksman is S tier. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's the best weapon in the game. That's slightly out of order, but I'll be going from beginning to end, starting with, I should have started with, default piercer, which is D tier. Default for D tier, because it just gets outclassed by its alternate piercer. It loses in all but reload time, or say recharge time, which it doesn't matter because you have all of your other weapons to use from. But alternate piercer, pretty good, solid damage. If you're able to punch a coin into Maurice and then shoot the piercer into the coin into the Maurice, let's say the coin that's inside of a Maurice, it will insta-kill it, which is a very useful combo to deal with Maurices individually or in groups, along with just good damage period on its own in the middle of other weapon swapping. It's, I believe, 5 damage. I'll correct that if it's needed. But it's very good, solid B tier. Now, alt marksman is a bit of a odd one to rank, cause like, as I said at the beginning of the video, if it was all that we had, it would be good. But it's not all that we have, so it's good. Now the sharpshooters are interesting because they are like the difference between the alternate and the SLAB, or what I like to call the SLARP shooter, is this gets more shots and charges up slower than the alt sharpshooter, which only has 1 shot but charges basically instantly. And basically most of the time it does single target, it does more damage 99% of the time. If you get all headshots with the standard one, it does more damage, but you're not going to get all headshots with this thing. So for the standard sharpshooter, for that, as just say as well, the angle this reflex, it automatically aims for headshots. Meanwhile, the alt sharpshooter aims just for like center of mass, so it's much easier to use. So I'll put the alt sharpshooter in B tier, and I'll put the sharpshooter in C tier. It's not useless. The ability to one-shot Maurices is fantastic, but otherwise there's not much other use for it. And the core eject shotgun, looking at it closely, I realize it's actually kind of hard to rank because the standard shotgun shot lets you do shotgun swap, which is nice, which you can do with any of the other shotguns. As well, you gotta think of using the other shotguns in conjunction with it for shotgun swapping. There's also the shotgun parry, aka the projectile boost. So that makes it obviously a B tier weapon at least, but that's basically where it stops, because the core eject on its own is not that useful. Like it can do shotgun swapping, but you don't have the full power of the rail cannon. So what do you do in that case? So yeah, I'd have to rank it top of B tier because of the core eject shotgun mixed with the Mal rail for core nuking is so valuable. But we'll get more into that with the Mal rail. Now this is just a personal preference kind of thing, but I'm putting this in C tier. Okay, now hear me out. I just like this core eject's firing arc better than the JACKHAMMER. The alt core eject is not bad. I just don't have much experience with it, even though I have over 4,000 hours in the game. So I'll put it in C tier, but this could easily be moved up if there's, because I know there is tech for it. Of course, you have to toss the core eject and immediately boost it, but you can do that with rockets, so why bother? Now, overpump shotgun. It's debated to put this in top of B tier or in A tier, because I'll put it in A tier for now. I'll see if I change my mind in a second. The overpump shotgun, good damage, pretty fast. You just go and you can 2-tap Maurices with Knuckle Blaster, or if you do double pump Knuckle Blaster and then slam is an insta kill, and then just like 2 shots with double pump will kill a Maurice. As well, the explosion, 10 damage, pretty big explosion, very powerful. It should not be underestimated. It's a very powerful skill that you should use all the time. But you had to choose between that and the alt JACKHAMMER. And the alt JACKHAMMER is JACKHAMMER. You gotta think about it like that. because the shotguns do good damage at close range, and the jackhammer does a lot of damage at point blank range. So you gotta think, do you want to take the faster overpump explosion with this, or do you want to go for the kind of clunkier, kind of heavier jackhammer with a red explosion that does, I believe, does it do less damage? But like, do you want to stick with the jackhammer though, because it's slower and does less damage and more damage? It's a matter of preference, I believe, for these two. But you can't deny the ability of the jackhammer with the pump explosion to deal, I believe it's 19 damage to one enemy, just to say screw you. You can't deny that ability. And now for the sawed-on shotgun and alt shotgun. Here's the thing: the sawed-on shotgun, the reload is out of the core eject, so it's the with the launches the cores out to reload, unlike the overpump, which is you know. But versus the jackhammer, which is the exact same as the other jackhammers, and you still have the chainsaw, and it allows you to do nice burst damage, because the jackhammer will launch, like, as you run up to the enemy, you can let the saw go out early and punch it, or just launch it at the same time as the jackhammer to get it as a pass through into the enemy. It does insane damage, especially to hideous masses and just anything in general. And while you can shotgun swap with this needs for the shotgun swap, I'm gonna put it in top of C tier, because I believe that the jackhammer is just better. Like the burst, like the amount of damage you do in an instant. The fact you can just go rocket right around the arena, tap, run, fly back out, then run around in the arena again, and then do other stuff in the meantime, means it's an easy A tier in my opinion. Now, the ATTRACTOR nail gun, because like, it has its little brother right here. It's not useless. It's definitely top of D tier, but it's just this is so much. This is so much better. The amount of DPS you can get, the amount of damage you can put into a trap is, I believe, 1.5 damage. Is it 1.5 damage? I'll pull up the numbers on screen. If not, I'll edit it and post an explanation of how much damage a fully placed like how about all 10 saws. I'll tell you how much damage all 10 saws will do on screen, and you'll see that it's a lot of damage. And you can use that in Cybergrind, and it ties in with the conductor. The conductor is the biggest thing in is one of the biggest things in Ultrakill right now, because it does so much damage. And the fact that the nail gun goes back into the conductor is a big deal. It makes it go faster, which means you can guarantee a conduction chain when you want it, which means an entire wave clear. Like wave 60 Cybergrind, just like gone. And I literally have had wave wipes of like 15 enemies with a conduction chain, and all that's left is one Gutterman and one Cerberus. That's it. Sometimes even just killing an entire wave outright if it's near the end. But that's onto the that's talking about the conductor versus the saw, which is part of the conductor set, which means it goes in A tier. Overheat nail gun. Before I figured out the power of the conductor, I put this in D tier, because I thought that the saw was so much better, which is good. But the overheat nail gun has its uses. The conduction power is based off of the amount of nails in the enemy, so the overheat is able to get a nice little you know, what's that sound, you know, that you like in the game, kind of just it means that it does lots of damage. It may not be top of A tier, but it's definitely in A tier at least. Along with the overheat SAWBLADE, it's one of the most amount of it's probably one of the most amount of damage you can have on the field in the shortest amount of time. Because overheat saw does something like 70 damage? No, that's way too much. I'll put on the proper amount of damage on screen. I'll look up the weapon table, the amount of damage it has on screen. But that, and it sets enemies on fire, that can be set on fire, especially with oil. And you could, that, especially if you can set it up with Maurices, this thing will melt a Maurice, quite literally. So, easy A tier. Conductor, S tier. Just as I was talking about before, I got ahead of myself. the conductor is one of the best weapons in the game. Just the amount of AoE damage it can dish out is insane. Stick some magnets in enemies, fill them with nails, and then just fire some saws to get the cooldown faster, which I was talking about before, like almost an instant wave wipe. So easy S tier. And this, the alt conductor, it's weird because like this, I'm not sure which is honestly like the best, because either or you still get the conduction ability, it's just a bit funkier because the blue one does its job better because it has the piercing saws. Well, this one saws don't pierce, so I'm inclined to put it in D tier, but I'm honestly not even sure. Now, blue rail cannon is S tier for sure. It's just 8 damage piercing on however many enemies you like. 8 damage piercing is a lot. That, and it sets off conduction chains early, so you can just put a bunch of magnets in enemies, set up the magnets, and then use the rail cannon instead, and more precisely time when you want the conduction chain to go off, which is great damage. That, and there's something else I'm thinking of that I can't quite put my finger on that does a lot of damage with the rail cannon. I'm not sure what it is. But anyways, I know because of that big damage, it's something to do with the coins, I think, I'm not sure. It puts it in S tier. And the Mal rail, I had to do a lot of thinking about this one, because without this, and this without this, they would be garbage. Let's be real. Especially the Mal rail, just an 8 damage explosion, which is not small. That's a pretty good sized explosion, pretty good damage. But it's only a yellow explosion, which means it doesn't insta-kill soldiers, which is a downside, a noticeable downside. And it's now that they changed it so it does more damage when it hits more coins, but when are you going to be using your coins on the Mal rail versus other general things you could do, like I mentioned before, with the alt piercer, or perhaps stuff with the conductor. The coins can be used to do other things versus boosting the damage of just the Mal rail explosion. But the core nuke is very good. You can use it to insta-kill mind flares below brutal very easily, and it just, if you're able to get a nice group of enemies, the amount of damage it does overall can be comparable to a weaker conduction. So it's definitely B tier, maybe even A tier, depending on how well you use it, but ultimately, I'll leave it here for now. This can be moved up though. Screwdriver, screwdriver, screwdriver. You can punch it from enemy to enemy, and it does a lot of damage when you do that. That's about it though. That's all that it does. The healing is nice, I guess, but it's not worth moving it up a tier. Freeze frame rocket launcher, S tier. SS tier. Rocket riding. I have a lot of experience in this game, so I don't just want to tell people, oh yeah, just do rail coins all the time. If you do rail coins all the time, you'll do all the damage you need. Like that kind of, not everybody knows how to do a rail coin punch, with rail coin nonsense. Rocket riding is one thing that everybody can learn and makes them 10 times better at the game. It's S tier. Period. Not to mention rockets on their own. I mean, gosh, rocket riding on its own would make it S tier. But rockets on their, like rockets as well, they can conduct with the conductor, A, would you look at that, and you can use them as FUPs, wherein you pull a rocket towards you to give a big red explosion that does, I believe, 7 damage, which is insane. That and the movement you get as well is bonkers, but I believe it gets to sit at the top along with the greats. The S.R.S. cannon is it's a decent sized fish in an already small pond, wherein it's very niche. It's not as niche as the screwdriver, but all it does is you can insta-kill one sentry, you can insta-kill one virtue, you can insta-kill one Cerberus, and if you're lucky you can make it hit another Cerberus with a cannonball. And you can knock insurrectionists on their back. That's it. That's all that you can do. That's all that this weapon is good for. I mean, it does decent damage. It's like if you fully charge the cannonball and then whiplash punch it back in, I believe it's overall like 12 damage, which is a lot of damage. But the fully charged jackhammer, I believe, is 13.5 damage. So it's alright. But I mean, do I put this in B tier? Ooh. S.R.S. cannon ball. More like it. I feel like, now that I think about it more, it doesn't deserve to be in the same tier as the screwdriver now that I think about it. Because it has more uses than the screwdriver. Now, the Firestarter is the most underlooked weapon in the entire game. Especially in the Cybergrind. Cybergrind wave starts. Sam Sword into the air, look at the arena, and just launch it all on the ground. So much fire damage. So much fire damage. I believe it's something like 6 fire damage of an enemy sitting on top of a freshly lit splash foil. And you can just put all that near the edge of a Cybergrind arena and have enemies walk over and take so much damage. Or just do like high traffic areas. Like, I'll put at least 2 examples of maps in the patterns in the Cybergrind that are very good with the Firestarters, because it's a nice wide area that you can cover with all the enemies will be, and does tons of damage. Not to mention the mobility. The mobility is very nice, especially in speedrunning. It's less so in the Cybergrind. I mean, it's neat in Cybergrind, but you gotta take. But most of the time the oil's on fire, so you gotta worry about that. But in speedrunning, it's also invaluable, so I had to move it up as well for that. And I wasn't gonna talk about the fists, but they're here, so I might as well put them. Parries, S tier. Whiplash, mobility, S tier. Knuckle blasters, free damage, A tier. Yeah, that's about it. No weapon in Ultrakill deserves F tier. I don't know why this is here. This is a waste of time. But otherwise, this is my Ultrakill tier list overall. I wonder how you all think of my opinions, and I would like to hear your guys' opinions in the comments below. I'm glad y'all liked the video and came around to stop by and spend some time. Hopefully be able to stick around for more of my videos in the future. With like a like, comment, and subscribe in the comment bell below. Whatever. Thank you all. Have a nice night.